Hi friends, Crystal here from Homemaking on the Homestead, and I'm enjoying a nice cup of tea this afternoon instead of coffee, which might come as a surprise to some people that know me. I was wanting to talk today about kind of a somewhat broad range of topics, but I think they all kind of connect, and that is downsizing, something that we certainly have done in the last couple of years. We've worked to downsize from being a family of 10 to now just the two of us. Minimalism and my thoughts on some of that, and clutter, and the broken window theory. Don't know if you've ever heard of that, but that's kind of what I'm going to put into this little video today. I think clutter can be our #1 enemy when it comes to having an organized home and a home that just feels neat and tidy, which I think makes for a more comforting home. If you have piles of clutter everywhere, it just looks messy and it's not a very inviting place, at least in my thoughts. I know that the problem of dealing with clutter can be magnified by how many people live in your house, and certainly when I had children at home, it was a huge problem. And that's the first time that I read Cheryl Mendelssohn's theory on the broken window theory. And basically what that theory is that in a neighborhood, if there is a building and somebody throws a rock through it and breaks the window, the next person who wants to do some mischief or cause some problems will see the broken window and say, hey, let's break another window, let's put some graffiti on the walls, create more chaos. So the basic idea with your home boils down to, you have a clear space, and you leave something out that doesn't belong in that space. And before you know it, somebody else sees that and they leave something there. And then somebody else sees it and they leave something there. And I remember this full well in action. Some of my kids were working and they would come home from work, and if I had, let's say, left out a project or had some folded laundry sitting on my dining room table, suddenly when that child walked through the door, the coat would go there, the purse would go there, any belongings they had would be put there. Then the next child would come in and the process would be repeated. I think one of the most interesting things that I have dealt with now since moving into this much smaller area, because as I shared in another video, my children are living in the main part of the house. I had to downsize a lot, and we had lived in that big house for 25 years. Even though I thought I had done a good job dealing with all of our belongings, going through things periodically as the years would go by, what I discovered as I started cleaning out the house in preparation for letting them move into it was that I had so much stuff. I've never been a person that even thought I had a lot of stuff, and yet what I found is in every drawer, in every shelf, in every closet, I had stuffed and pushed and moved things around. Stuffing things into closets and drawers is definitely not a way of the best way or the proper way of dealing with things. We downsized, and I had to start really thinking critically of what exactly do I need to function just on a basic level. Of course, having had a big family, I had a large collection of everything. I had lots of bathroom towels. I had lots of silverware. I had lots of pots and pans and dishes, and way more than two people need. Things that I didn't want to give away or didn't want to get rid of went into storage. And right now, I'm going to tell you that storage area is packed. And so no matter how much I tried to reduce, it was still hard to get down to the point where I'm saying, okay, this is all I need. I have become more focused on, in a sense, some people might call it minimalism. I haven't gone in a minimalism route, at least in my own mind, but I've tried to look more at it as just a reality. How much do people need? People in this day and age have so much stuff, and they create closets and closet organizers. They sell bookshelves with little cubby baskets. They have, you know, a million different types of ways of organizing our stuff. But my question became, how much stuff is actually necessary? It became quite the reality to me that of the excesses that that we can live with. And just to clarify, we have things in our life that are sentimental. We have things in our life that, I'm a sewer, so I have a couple sewing machines. I have boxes of fabric. I have, boxes of sewing notions and things like that. And I did thin that down, but I didn't get rid of it. I didn't want to change my lifestyle just because we were downsizing. I just simply wanted to become realistic with what is enough. But living in this smaller area has really opened my eyes to the whole clutter issue. It starts by, in my opinion, by having too much stuff. And then it also is habits. I've had to make it a constant job to keep things orderly and keep things neat. I'm constantly following up on all the things that I need to put away, things that I need to take care of. We can exist in a smaller place, but we just have to be more diligent rather than allowing things to go and get out of hand. My feeling is that the best way to keep a house looking orderly is to keep control of your clutter. My greatest problem, I remember, especially when I had more space, was moving things. I would have a pile that I didn't know what to do with, and I would move it from here to there. And then when I needed to deal with that area, it's like, oh, what do I do with this? Oh, let me put it in my bedroom. And then I'd go to clean my bedroom. Oh, I've got this pile. And the next thing I know, it's back where I had to start it originally. But what is in that pile? Is it important? And if it is, then give it its own space. There are things that you're in the process of doing or using, and it's understandable that they're out. But otherwise, making those good habits where you're putting things away in their place, all of that goes together to create a much more orderly home and giving you a sense of peace. It's crazy how much we can hang on to our things, and believe me, I understand it. I mean, they have books of organizing and talking about the emotional issues that people can have getting rid of their stuff. And let me tell you, I dealt with that. I came across a lot of things as I was cleaning out things, downsizing. I had a drawer that was full of playing cards, several decks, and my kids would used to all gather around the table and they would play card games that required several decks of cards. I remember those evenings when they would do that, and those were some very sweet memories. It almost felt like throwing away those decks of cards was a little bit like throwing a memory away. I got to the point in some things I just literally couldn't do it. I ended up boxing those up and putting them into a box for storage. I really had to focus on exactly the things that I felt would enrich our life in a smaller area and not be overwhelming. To be overwhelmed with stuff is, in my opinion, it's like a burden. When I got rid of all of this stuff, load by load, I found such a release of just that burden. It was like freedom to be getting rid of so much stuff. I've been living like this for over a year, and I have to say there's only been a few things that I regretted that I had gotten rid of. Luckily, they weren't expensive things or huge things, and I've been able to just go replace them. That was always one of the other things as well, is that, well, I don't want to throw this away because I might need it again. And I understand that, but then that creates, a huge amount of things either stored away, pushed into cupboards, closets. The relief and the feeling of lightness for me has been worth the getting rid of that and going through that process. And now I am able to keep my little 500 square feet neat and orderly, and I have the minimum amount of things that I need and want, but I still have my things, and I still have the things that are important to me, but I've downsized to a realistic amount. that has created a much bigger sense of peace for me, which has been totally worth the effort to get from 2,900 square feet down to 5. So those are pretty much my thoughts today on clutter, controlling it, downsizing, and living in a realistic state of what we need and what we don't need. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I appreciate you being here. And if you haven't subscribed and you like my content, would you consider subscribing? That really means a lot to me. All right, you guys, I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.